I'm playing with a Pro controller, and yeah, this is actually my third run through of the game altogether. This, this is a funny game. This is one of those games, it's a roguelike, first of all, if you haven't played it. It's one of those games that you're supposed to play it multiple times. Like, you're not really supposed to play it one time and beat it. You're supposed to keep playing it and change a little bit each time, kind of thing. It takes like 80 playthroughs to actually finish the game, which, you know, I'm not going to play it 80 times, but I'm having fun with it so far. It's a really interesting game. It's very stylish and surprisingly complex as well. It reminds me a little bit of the Smash TV games back in the day. And yeah, it's fun. Top down, you dash, you know, there's a lot to it. Let's see, as you can see, I've gotten most of the power-ups available. Most of them. Here I've got my AR-15, it's very damaging. I might go with the shield though, let's see. Shield is awesome, look at this. You can power it up and dash. You can also hit enemies with it, but it's, you know, it's a little bit slow as far as the weapons go. But you can also block with it. See how I'm blocking? And then as you're blocking, you can unleash this kind of dash strike, which is super useful. Okay, I'm gonna focus on my regular attack. So those were homing shots. Homing shots are good. Still need to do more damage though. So I'm gonna try to get some good power-ups. Especially Zeus. If I can get a couple of Zeus power-ups, it'll really go a long way. I also, there's a power-up that eliminates the need to reload. I have to get that, because having to reload is a real pain. Attack is stronger with a 15% chance. Dash strike. Okay, we're going to stick to attack bonuses. I really need a Zeus power-up though. I need that lightning bolt. So far I'm not really getting the power-ups that I want. I might want to actually start over. Here we've got Grabby Hands McGee. You want to stay away from the Grabby Hands McGee. They're quite nasty. With their groping, grabby hands. Yeah, I might want to start over and try to get better power-ups. We'll see. Any damage deals turning to critical. Da, 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 da. These are bad. I don't like any of these. I don't like any of these. Let's just give up. Yeah. All right, start the timer over. She's gonna ignore me after this is over. She's gonna ghost me. Attack. Yeah, we're gonna go with that one. I feel like it's giving me the exact same power-ups that I did last time. I really need that Zeus lightning bolt though. The sooner I get that, the better. Oh, that's new. Lightning bolt. Excellent. This is what I've been waiting for. All right. Whew. I thought I was like trapped in an endless cycle there of just having the same thing happen over and over again. Zeus, the man himself. Okay, we want this one. Focused completely on attack. Yeah, this might be my last run through of the game. Had a lot of fun with it. I don't want it to wear out its welcome. Like, I don't want to get sick of it or anything like that. I know a lot of people say you should play it, you know, 10 times or so to get the full experience, but yeah, I think this third time is enough for me, because it took me many tries to get the first win. So it kind of feels like I've run through it 10 times. You know what I mean? Even though I've technically only beaten the final boss twice. See how the lightning proc bounces around to other enemies? That's what makes it really good. Aphrodite. Always a welcome sight for sore eyes. Reduced damage 15%, that's really good. Dash that damages enemies, also really good. What should I do? It's gotta be one of these two. Gotta be one of these two. We'll go with reduced damage. So yeah, I wanna power up the lightning proc as much as I can so that it bounces around a lot, which really wreaks havoc on enemies. And you combine that with the infinite ammo, so you don't have to reload. And the gun is amazing. Is it just me, or am I taking like no damage here? Boom. All right. Sheesh. All right, so that's the first of the 4 worlds. There are 4, I don't even know if you could call them worlds, really. They're more like levels. Let's see, 50% to armor. I'm just going to pass on all of these, actually. Yeah, 4 levels. 4 levels of increasing difficulty, obviously. I like the visual style of this game a lot. The art direction and everything. It's really cool. Okay, we're gonna snub Aphrodite and we're gonna go with Zeus. Yes, yeah, I don't want any of these, but I guess I'll go with this one. Static discharge is good. Oh. Aphrodite wants revenge. Funny thing is, after you defeat the goons of the person that you snubbed, they end up giving you their power up anyway. So, yeah, I have to watch out for that heart though. I think I don't know what happens if the heart catches you, but I bet it's bad. Yeah, on my second run through the game, the second run where I actually finished the game, the very first power up that I opened actually was the infinite ammo power up. Very first. That was great. It was super fun after that. Okay, let's see what this one has. Dionysus. Dionysus who needs to put on some pants. Some pantalones. These are terrible. These are so terrible. Oh my, a coin. A coin. The next one's a coin. This is like getting a coin in Mario Kart. It's like you hit the question mark block, you get a coin. It's like, oh gee, thanks. Thanks. Another coin. Okay, it's okay guys. It's okay. We got this. We got this. Sometimes fate deals you a bad hand. Sometimes. And it's up to you. It's up to you to make the best of that bad hand that you've been dealt. All right, whew. Got the Hydra. Very good.
Should fetch me something good back home.
Yeah, I got a little quiet just now because I was really focused on that fight, but also I was kind of deep in thought. All right, that's 2 of the 4 areas down. 2 to go. Whew. Okay, give me something good, please. Please give me something good.
Congratulations to you for that.
All terrible. I mean, moving faster. I mean, you can't really go wrong with moving faster, but so yeah, this is super suboptimal. Super suboptimal. I mean, I'm turning to a broken record at this point. Getting chased by a horde of butterflies here. Speaking of getting chased by a horde, I don't like to get political while I'm recording a game for YouTube or anything like that, but today's the day that we're waiting for the verdict in the Rittenhouse case. Probably the most high-profile court case since O.J. Simpson. I mean, the jury has been deliberating for days now. Days, which is ludicrous. They should have had a verdict in 10 minutes. But here we are 3 days later. There are several holdouts on the jury, apparently, who are afraid for their lives, so they don't want to vote with the rest of the jury. But regardless of what the case may be, I mean, there's a lot of hearsay going on. I don't know. But I will admit that I'm very distracted today waiting for the results of that trial and kind of worrying over the direction of the country. The best we can do, as always, whenever things are happening that are, sus, the best thing we can do as a people is at least be aware of what's going on and be well informed. That's the key thing, be well informed, which our news media does its best to make sure we're not. So, and I think that's the thing that drives me the most nuts about the whole thing, is the way the news media has done everything in its power to keep the people from really knowing the facts of this particular case. You know what I mean? They've done everything possible to distort and obfuscate the actual reality of what happened and what's going on in this case, why this kid's on trial. It's actually fairly disgusting. And I will admit right now to being distracted and not thrilled about the whole thing currently. And I'm going to take that out on these ninjas and these pink butterflies, because they deserve it. These pink butterflies deserve it with their fluttering and their mob violence. Mob violence is super not cool. Mob violence has never been cool. I think we all know that. I think everyone in this country can agree that mob violence is not cool. Although apparently some people can't agree on that anymore. But you would think that everyone would be able to agree that violence is bad, and mob violence especially is bad. These should be things that every single person, man, woman, and child in America can at least find common ground on. And the fact that there are so many people that seem to not be able to find common ground on that is also, frankly, disgusting. Not as disgusting as the media not doing their jobs, though, because the media is feeding into the fact that people cannot find common ground. They're feeding into division. It's almost like they want people divided because it makes them more money. I don't know why, but they don't do their jobs. They want people divided. I don't know. But all I know for sure is they're hurting America by keeping people misinformed. It causes division. It causes people to fight their neighbors. One person who gets their news from CNN is going to fight their neighbor who gets their news from somewhere else. They might have seen video that, proves what happened, and then CNN's telling them something else. And then next thing you know, they're arguing with each other. It's just, there should be no argument. We have video showing what happened. Everybody knows what happened. The media has turned this into yet another left versus right thing. Yeah, when it comes down to it, most people on the left at this point acknowledge that this kid should not go to jail. That this kid only defended himself. He didn't do anything to anybody who wasn't immediately trying to murder him. But still, despite that, most people, regardless of their political stripes, acknowledge these facts. We still have a media that is continuing to tell us otherwise. They're continuing to tell us, don't believe your lying eyes. It's absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Absolutely insane. Like right now I have all these guys chasing after me in Elysium. This guy with a sword chasing after me. I'm trying to get away from him. Okay? This guy's coming after me. I'm trying to get away from him. I'm like, hey man, leave me alone. Get away from me. Get away from me. Guy's gonna keep trying to kill me. Eventually I have to do this. Eventually I'm cornered. Boom. Now, I'm sure a few people, I don't know how many people are going to see this video, maybe 100, maybe 100 in the grand scheme of things, maybe 50. I don't know. Not that many. Probably. I don't know. However many people see this video, I'm guessing a couple of them have turned it off by now. And that's unfortunate, because it's telling you things you don't want to hear. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about something that affects all of us. It's a serious issue right now. It's the right of people to defend themselves against a mob assault. And that's all there is to it. It's an important right that we have, because without that right, we're all at the mercy of these people. We're at the mercy of mob assaults that we didn't ask for, Assaults out of nowhere. We're out minding our own business. We get assaulted by a mob. They're trying to take away our right to escape. They're trying to take away our right to drive away from a mob. If a mob's attacking you, you can't drive away from it. You'll be charged with vehicular manslaughter or attempted vehicular manslaughter. They're trying to take away your right to escape from a mob. Okay? I mean, I think what hurts me the most about all of it. Oh, look at that. Finally a hammer after all this stuff. I think what hurts me the most about all of it is how many people I respect in like pop culture, media, whatever the case may be. How many people that I respect have basically come out and defended the indefensible lately. People that I respect, you know, people that I used to respect, but also people that I still respect, because I'm not gonna stop respecting someone just because they get it wrong once. You know, if someone gets it wrong once, that's a mistake. It's only when they continuously get it wrong, like MSNBC, continuously getting everything wrong, that I start to think, well, maybe there's an ulterior motive here. You know, if it's just a one-time mistake or a two-time mistake, I give people the benefit of the doubt that, okay, they don't know any better. But any more than that, and it's really hard for me to keep giving the benefit of the doubt to people that are continuing to not tell the truth. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to shut my eyes and say, oh no, I'm going to keep listening to this person who keeps lying to me, no matter how much I like that person. And that's the tough part. Really, that's the tough part. So yesterday, Trevor Noah was trending on Twitter. I don't use Twitter, but I read Twitter. Regardless, yesterday on Twitter, trending was Trevor Noah, and I looked into it. Why is Trevor Noah trending? Trevor Noah was trending because he apparently said he was watching the Rittenhouse testimony or something. Rittenhouse said that he was only there to help people. He was only there to protect property, to be a medic, to put out fires, so on and so forth. Trevor Noah latches on to the protecting property part of the testimony, and he called it bullshit. He said, no, that's bullshit. No one goes out of their way to protect someone else's property. That's what he said. And he trended on Twitter for saying that because so many people took an issue with it. Like, is this guy insane? So all the police in this country, firefighters, EMTs, they're all just doing it for the paycheck then. They're doing it because they're getting paid. They're not doing it because they want to help people. I mean, if they weren't getting a paycheck, they certainly wouldn't be going out of their way to help anyone. All the firefighters in this country, only doing it for the paycheck. Even the volunteer firefighters. We have volunteer firefighters in this country, lots of them. I used to be one, actually, very briefly, for about 2 months, and I was like, hey, this is really hard. I don't know if I can do this full time. Volunteer firefighters in this country who work for free, I guess they're just doing it for the money. I mean, no one looks out for other people's property, right? I mean, obviously that was a stupid thing to say, but this is a man with a television show, a man who has possibly, I don't know, I was going to say millions, but not anymore. I mean, Jon Stewart had millions of viewers when he was the head of The Daily Show. Jon Stewart, I can always count on him to tell me the truth, or at the very least tell me the truth as he understands it, because he has never done otherwise. I have no record of Jon Stewart repeatedly lying to me about anything, so he still has credibility for me. A few years ago, I was actually an avid fan of Trevor Noah's Daily Show. I really like his way of covering things. I like his voice. He has a great voice. It's just an absolute sea of bad takes because there are so many media personalities like Trevor Noah who just spent a year telling people things about this case and about this incident that probably half the things they were telling their audiences turned out to not be true. And now they have to cover their butts. So instead of coming clean and being like, yeah, we got it wrong, you know, there's a good chance he's going to be found not guilty because we got it wrong. You know, we don't know. He might be found guilty. Depends on how how threatened the jury feels. You know what I mean? By some reports, the jury looks like they're scared shitless right now as they come to their deliberation and their decision. Hope that's not the case, but that's the report. So, I mean, if they're scared shitless enough and they're afraid of being doxxed and having their families threatened, maybe they'll vote guilty. You know, because a lot of people have been trying to dox them. They've been getting death threats. The judge has been getting death threats because people think he's pro Rittenhouse, or he's showing favoritism, so they're sending him death threats. He said he got thousands of death threats from people who think he's showing favoritism to Kyle. What he's doing is he's doing his job. He's doing his job as fairly and impartially as he can, and it's not the judge's fault that the facts have a pro-Rittenhouse bias. Sorry that the facts are on the side of this kid. The judge is doing his job. And he's getting death threats for doing his job, which is sad. That's the world we live in now. But I mean, people like Trevor Noah, they have to double down on their assertions that they've been telling their audiences for the past year, because they can't just admit that they got something wrong. They can't just say, oh no, that didn't turn out quite the way we thought it did. Let's move on. Let's move on to something else that, you know. No, they can't. They have to double down and keep focusing on the thing that they got wrong and continue to get it wrong. And the assertions that these people are making are getting increasingly absurd as the days go on. And it sucks when it's people that you respect, people that you like, that are doing these things. It really sucks. You know, it's not like it's Sean Hannity doing these things. Like, I've never particularly liked Sean Hannity. You know, it's like if it were Sean Hannity doing it, it would be like, okay, fine, who cares, you know? But when it's people that I like, that's different, and that's when it hurts. You know what I mean? When people that I like are being dishonest, they're being disingenuous, they're lying by omission, they're leaving out things that don't bolster their case. I don't know why they even have a case to begin with, because the truth should be bipartisan. I mean, there should not be a debate over what reality is. We should be able to come to a bipartisan consensus on at least the basic tenets of reality. I might as well just like remove Hades entirely from this video and just have it be a political video, just me discussing. It's not even political, it's not politics, it's just someone's on trial for self-defense. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell does this have to do with politics at all? I don't know. But people have politicized it. They've made it political. You know, I took self-defense myself. I took self-defense for 12 years in the past. And now I have an entire news media telling me that it's not okay to use it. You know, it's not okay to use it if you put yourself in a position where you might have to use it. Well, then you put yourself in that position and it's your fault. That's basically what they're saying about this kid right now. That it's his fault that he put himself into that position where he had to use self-defense. That he shouldn't have even put himself in that. He shouldn't have even been outside. He should have been hiding at home with his doors locked. That's what he should have been doing. Instead of going out and trying to help. Trying to help people, trying to put out fires. This was a kid who was out putting out fires. Yeah, you shouldn't put yourself out there in a position where you can get assaulted. I mean, if you carry a gun, you waive the right to self-defense. That's one of the things the prosecution said. I'm pretty sure the whole point of carrying a gun is to defend yourself. It's kind of the great equalizer in a lot of ways. You know, women, elderly people, anyone. I'm not saying that women are weak or anything like that, but like people who are not very big, okay, some of them could be men as well, I don't know. People who are of small stature or are elderly or whatever the case may be, they often find themselves defenseless. If a couple guys come up to them, you know, if you're like a woman and you're 5'2" or something, and a couple of 6-foot-tall guys come up to you and decide to have their way with you, you're at a disadvantage. You're at a distinct disadvantage at that point. Having a gun, having like any kind of firearm, is the great equalizer in a case like that. It's the great equalizer for anyone who's otherwise at a disadvantage physically.
Should come in useful.
It's a great equalizer for them to adequately defend themselves. And the news media likes to pretend that assault rifles like the one Rittenhouse was carrying, they like to pretend that those are responsible for all the gun violence in this country and all this other kind of stuff, that they're this huge threat. Here's the thing. Assault rifles are responsible for about 3% of the gun fatalities in the United States. And handguns are responsible for like 70%. It's not even close. And probably half the people at that stupid riot were carrying handguns. There were a bunch of people carrying rifles too. I mean, there were a ton of armed people at that riot. The media is acting like Kyle was the only person there carrying a weapon. Like, why did he bring a weapon to this? Man, they have lied about it nonstop for the past year. They started their reporting by saying that it was a peaceful gathering that he fired into a crowd at, that's basically the plot of The Running Man. You know, Arnold is falsely accused of doing exactly the same thing, which is kind of interesting. But there was no crowd, there was no shooting into a crowd, there was no peaceful gathering. It was a group of guys attacking a boy in the middle of the street. I mean, it's just lies on top of lies at this point. And if he hadn't been armed, I mean, they sure want to grief him a lot for being armed, but if he hadn't been armed, he'd be dead. And if those guys had killed him, you would have never heard his name. Because there were a lot of people killed in those riots, and you never heard any of their names on the news. Never heard the name of a single one of them on the news. Maybe you heard about David Dorn, but that's about it. The political implications of this are getting in the way of people acknowledging the reality of the situation. All right, here we go. Final boss is Hades. Hades himself, the god of the underworld. This is a tough fight, but I think that the Minotaur and the other guy are a tougher fight. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in the news media, a lot of TV personalities, a lot of talking heads have sold their souls at this point. Speaking of selling your soul, just absolutely sold their souls just to toe the line. To toe the line of saying what they're supposed to say, regardless of evidence to the contrary. Thing is that I can always change my mind if I'm wrong. I can always change my mind if I'm giving information that turns out to not be correct. You know, if I have an opinion on something and it turns out that the facts don't back up my opinion, I can always change my opinion. I'm not playing for a team where I have to constantly prove that my team is right or whatever. I can always change my mind and say, no, I got that wrong. And I feel like in the United States presently, people are so like crystallized in their political persuasions that they have to kind of shape reality to fit the narrative. They have to mold reality around the narrative rather than molding the narrative around reality, which would be the proper way to do it, I think. You know, whatever reality is, that's what you form your narrative around. That's what you form your opinions around. Whatever the facts are. Like I said before, it's like you would think that everyone would be able to agree that violent riots are bad, that you know, mob violence is bad. You'd think everyone would be able to agree on that, but it seems like everyone is more of the persuasion that it's bad when the other side does it, but when my side does it, oh, it's understandable. It's understandable when my side does it because my side's very upset. And both sides do this. They both do this. It's okay to be violent in a mob if your side's really upset about something. No, it's not. It never is. And I wish we could all agree on that. Agree that regardless of who's doing it, it's not okay. I will say, though, that the left had about 850 riots in 2020, and the right has had like 2 in the same time period. So yeah, everybody makes excuses for their side, but you know, that doesn't mean that it's even either. Unfortunately, I wish there were nothing of the sort even happening at all. I really do. I think the most worrying thing of all about this case and the fact that this even happened at all is the fact that so many people are so incredibly angry at this kid. It's really weird. It's not like your normal level of anger, I guess. You know, people get angry about court cases all the time, but the level of anger here is different. You know, the level of death threats and just people outside this courthouse talking about how they want to murder this 17-year-old. You know, bunch of protesters outside the courthouse wearing like "fuck Kyle" t-shirts. It's really unsettling. Really, it's really unsettling. We live in a fairly dark time, it seems like. And I am losing this fight with my terrible lineup. Well, he got me. Well, that was the worst run of Hades that I've had since I started. Well, that's the worst run I've had since the first time I beat the game. Put on some clothes, Aphrodite. Nobody wants to see that, okay? Nobody wants to see that. Oh, cool. My blasts are now pink. I now shoot pink lasers. Pink. That's how a friend of mine says the word pink. She says pink. All right, here we go. Boss fight. It's a different boss this time. There are actually 3 different bosses, I believe, that you can fight in this room. Boom! Go with Crystal Beam. I've never seen that one before. Ooh, that's interesting. I like it. Ooh, that's cool. All right, something new. Look at this guy's portrait. This is a badass portrait. Very nice artwork for that guy. Tie. We tied. Look at that. Stan Marsh. Tied. What happened to South Park anyway? We usually get South Park in November, but I feel like it's just dropped off the face of the earth. Maybe they've decided that the real world is so absurd right now that they don't need to make new South Park. I mean, seriously, they can't get any more absurd than how people are actually acting right now. It's almost like we're in a living South Park episode. Pustule. How dare you calling me a pustule? That is a low blow. That is a low blow, sir. Pistols at dawn, sir. I challenge you to honorable fisticuffs, sir. Channeling Keith Olbermann there. Sir, I challenge you, sir. Keith Olbermann, another guy who's been a huge letdown. Man, I used to respect the hell out of that guy. He always stood up for, you know, what was right. He was strong, a strong voice. There were times when he was a strong voice kind of in the wilderness, you know, times when very few people were standing up for what was right. He would always stand up for what was right. And now even he's calling for the execution of this 17-year-old. Jesus Christ. I'm sure it's metaphorical. Not that it matters, because there are people that'll take it literally. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about these pieces of shit. Here he is. Hello. Say hello to the people. No, don't lick me. Don't lick me. Say hello to the people. There we go. He doesn't see cameras. He doesn't see cameras. He's not a vain boy. No, he doesn't seek out cameras. Ugh. Yeah, this is definitely my last run at this game. Win or lose. This is it. Yeah, I think he's too nice to sue anybody, but in the event that I'm wrong, in the event that he isn't too nice to sue anybody, and he says, you know, he could totally sue all of those mainstream media outlets for disinformation, slander, defamation. Oh man, the list goes on. It's one thing to slander another adult. It's one thing to slander a corporation or an entity or a news agency. It's another thing to slander a teenager. I don't know why these people feel it's so necessary to slander this kid in the first place. Like, I know they're all under marching orders from like Viacom and the 5 people that own all the media outlets in this country. I know they're just doing what they're told, but still, there comes a point where you have to wonder why these people aren't asking themselves, these people, these talking heads on TV, why aren't they asking themselves, like, is it really ethical to be doing what I'm doing? Is it really ethical to continue to slander a kid when the evidence has not borne out? You know, you'd think that this would cross their minds at some point, but I guess the paychecks are just too damn big. I hope this has been a fun video, even though I've had a lot of deep thoughts, a lot of things on my mind, a lot of things kind of weighing heavily. I hope it's been a fun video because, you know, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm playing Hades. All is well, right? All is well here, right here, all is well. All is not well elsewhere in the world, but right here, right now, all is well. Okay, let's go with the Heartbreak Strike. The Heartbreak Strike lays down for no one. I don't know why I said that in a Val Venus voice there. Ooh, this is a good one right here. This is a really good one. This makes you do double damage, basically, and it doesn't knock foes away, which makes it easier to pile up damage on them, to keep hitting them. You know, they don't get knocked back, so this is huge. This is great. I'm finally having some good luck with power-ups here. All right, I've let my hair down, which means it's time to get serious. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm already playing better. Just by letting my hair down, I'm already playing better. This is such a hard fight, and it's like the game itself isn't too difficult for the most part, but this one fight at the end is so hard. When it comes down to it, really, the rest of the game is just preparing for this one fight. It's you getting as powerful as you can each run to try and win this one fight. Whew. And that's it. That's Hades. This is the game. That was the whole game. Got 3 total clears, 2 of them with the shield, 1 of them with the AR-15, which I think is the best weapon as long as you get the right power-ups for it. If you don't get the right power-ups for it, the shield, maybe the spear is the best weapon. I don't know. A lot of people say that the spear is overpowered. A lot of other people say that the spear is underpowered. So I think it really depends on the player. But I found the best luck with the shield, and I really liked the gun. The gun was a lot of fun, but only with the proper power-ups. Man, there's a lot of food here. I hope she's planning on having guests because I wouldn't want all this food to rot. This is way too much for one person to ever eat in a year.
Mother,
Oh, Here, it's his mom.
Well, then,
Is he like mortally wounded from his fight with Hades?
what if Father didn't want you?
What if he didn't want me coming back to him? Or seeing you? Oh no, you're
Yeah, he's mortally wounded from his fight.
It's just
I guess he just kind of slowly bled out
fine.
after he reached the surface. That's rough. That's rough. And here you are back at the beginning of the game. That's Hades. Back at the beginning of the game, you start over, do it all over again. So yeah, interesting game. I like the Greek mythology. I like the artwork. I like the art direction. I like the humor. I like everything about it. But this is going to be it for me. I finished the game 3 times. And yeah, I think that's good for me. I think that's good. This latest time was definitely a tough struggle, but I did it. I got through it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this video was fun. Hope I wasn't too much of a downer, but I mean, the real world is rough right now. It is rough. It is like a living South Park episode. And the fact that people are at each other's throats about it is even more of a bummer, unfortunately. I wish we could all just get along again. I mean, I don't know if there was ever a time when we all got along, but I feel like we were close for a while there, and I wish we could go back to that. Wish we could just kind of rewind a couple of years and to before all this stuff happened, and just kind of try to get along, you know, a little better. And that's it. That's it for Hades. Good stuff. Peace out. Violence is bad. That's about it. Bye.
Was how all of this unfolded. What was the thing that sparked it? What started all of it? And initially, I was under the assumption that Rittenhouse was the person who was chasing after Joseph Rosenbaum, that's how it had started. But I was wrong about that. Okay, so I want to correct the record. I was, in fact, wrong about that.
She was wrong about it. She's wrong about a lot of things.